If you want to control your labor costs, scheduling on budget is only half the battle. And before you start jumping into more advanced controls like dollars per labor hour worked, the second half of the battle is tracking your labor costs on a daily basis, because the phrase "that which you measure improves" is 100% correct. Now, most restaurant managers, well, they've been taught again to track labor on a daily basis, but heck, many of them have been taught to track on a daily basis just the dollars that came in sales and the dollars you spent to come up with a labor percentage, right? So, and some of them even been taught to do the running total. So Monday, my labor cost is 18%. Tuesdays, my labor cost is 22, and the running total is 20. Let's just make it easy math. And the days go on. And as I do this, I start to see where my labor cost is going to be. And I can still work towards the right target. But the truth is, it's not all there. See, the Google Sheet that I share with my members, the Restaurant Labor Tracker, is literally going to track a lot of details, probably more details than I can describe right now, from expected sales, forecasted sales, to sales needed to hit your labor target, to originally scheduled hours versus actually worked hours, originally scheduled dollars to what was actually used, and running totals and so on. It's a little bit complex, but easy to use. It's just data entry. What I want to share with you is one thing that you can do today to track and control your labor cost that is just kind of pulled from that spreadsheet that you can do right now. Because again, you can track your sales and you can track your labor costs by percentage and dollars. And you can do a running total, but it doesn't tell the whole picture. What I want you to do is one more thing. I want you to look and start to track your originally scheduled hours with those hours that were actually worked. So when you look at it and you say, hey, we originally scheduled, call it 85 hours on Monday. But Tuesday morning, I walk in and we worked 90 hours. Well, let's say I forecasted $7,000 in sales, but I worked more hours. What would your expectation be? That my sales should be higher than $7,000. But when I find it's $7,000 or less, it means I've got managers who are falling asleep at the wheel, not cutting properly, not paying attention to the POS system and the needs of the business. So you've got to train your managers to look at their sales every half hour to identify time to cut. You need to teach your managers to look at, well, who closed the shift last night if my hours are higher, my sales are lower? What kind of coaching does that manager need in order to start to interpret the numbers on a daily basis and keep us on budget? When you track, you're going to help your managers come up with a plan to get back on track. See, I can see that we screwed up our labor costs on Monday, but that gives me 6 more days to fix it without cutting service levels. See, the last thing we want to do is get to Friday and go cut like a chicken with your head cut off when we're coming up on the 2 busiest sales days of the week. But that we finally looked at our labor costs and we're way over, and we've got to track. We've got to bring it back. My case in point here. One of my Mastery Plus members recently reached out to me because he wanted to get the whole labor suite of my systems back in place in his restaurant. See, he was frustrated because he really wasn't holding his managers accountable to the systems, and his labor costs, well, they were over budget. So he knew it was time to get back in the trenches, refocus. And that's not unusual. No matter how good a restaurant owner you are, we take our eye off the ball from time to time, and we just have to refocus. So we got on a Zoom, and I first told him to rewatch. I've got this in my training library, a 2-hour video that walks through all the labor systems from A to Z. Step by step, how they connect, where the numbers come from, a deep dive on all the labor systems that I teach to truly control the labor costs. Because you've kind of got to understand how all the pieces fit together. The puzzle pieces fit. Then we looked, well, at the systems he was already using. My systems, numbers, his numbers. And 2 things popped to my attention. It's like, boom, like, wow, I can see this right away. He wasn't holding his managers accountable to the scheduled budget. I could see that in the schedule variance. He was approving a schedule that was over budget week after week after week. Only a few hours, but only a few hours is money. Whose money? Your money. And 2, while they're filling out my labor tracker, the actual sheet that I just talked about, they weren't mining it for the right information to make changes in their business. They were just typing in the numbers and looking backwards going, oh my. Ultimately, we got on a second Zoom a couple weeks later, and I walked him step by step through the labor tracker. He understood that basically what I shared with him was that I taught him his managers needed to start basically to be held accountable to the numbers. They needed to be held accountable to the numbers, basically those scheduled hours and sales. If you'd like to learn more about controlling your labor costs and ask me questions directly, be sure to join me live every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, travel schedule permitting, where I'll get you pumped about the upcoming weekend, get you excited about crushing your goals and finding the motivation to be the best you possible. Plus, I'll answer your burning questions live.